Welcome to Grampy's Lionel Trains. My recent eBay purchase is a 221 Locomotive, one of my favorites. Putting it on my test track, I seem to have a sticky E unit that's not cycling. I'll start by removing the screw on the top. Using a 1/4-inch nut driver, I'll take the side rod screw off. Flipping it over to get the other side. Unfortunately, this did not come with a rear truck. Removing the drawbar, then removing the front truck. Using a punch, you want to knock out the motor pin. You need to hit the pin far enough to release the motor. I'm going to be changing all the wires on this locomotive, being the age of it and not trusting it. It looks like somebody already replaced the headlamp wire. Next, I'll remove the screws from the brush plate to check the brushes and also the armature. Looking at the armature, it's not too dirty, being the engine was running, but I'll still give it a good cleaning. Removing the gear plate assembly so I can give it a good cleaning. Next, I'll remove the screw for the E unit. Desoldering the headlamp wire and also the wire that goes down to the contact shoes. Looking at the drum, it's pretty dirty. It's going to need a good cleaning. One of the best tools I ever purchased is this E unit jig. Taking the breaker bar, it's nice and easy to separate the E unit. Removing the fingers, getting the drum out, spreading it a little further apart so I can get the back fingers out. Looking at the fingers, they're definitely worn, and that was probably the reason why the E unit was sticking. Compare it to a new one, you can see the difference. I like to buy the fingers unwired. They save a lot of money, almost half the price. Yellow wire gets soldered to the two fingers. The green wire gets soldered to the outside on the four fingers. The blue wire gets soldered to the middle with the two fingers. The black wire gets soldered on the outside, which eventually gets soldered back to the unit's coil. The best tool in this E-unit jig is the drum holder. Anybody that's worked on an E-unit knows what I'm talking about. The hardest part is keeping that drum aligned. You want to make sure everything's aligned with the fingers and also the drum. I use channel lock sometimes to snap it in place. You want to make sure the drum is moving freely, testing the plunger going up and down. gave the motor a good cleaning with mineral spirits, followed up with WD-40. Cleaning the wheels, I use a Dremel tool with an abrasing buffing wheel. Starting to reassemble the motor, we'll put the gear plate assembly on first. After tightening the screws on the gear plate assembly, you want to put a couple of drops of oil on the shaft there. I use electronic cleaner for cleaning the brush plate. Using gravity, I hold the motor over so the brushes don't fall out. You want to put a drop of oil on the armature shaft and work it in. Finishing up by putting oil on the axles and also the gears. Soldering the black wire from the 4 fingers, also from the lamp and the contact shoes. Soldering the wire from the contact shoes to the E unit. The green wire from the E unit gets soldered to the motor coil. Putting the E unit back into the motor. Next, we'll take the yellow wire and the blue wire from the E unit and solder them to the brush plate. I'm replacing the old contact shoes with new ones. Before putting the motor back in the shell, you want to make sure it's working properly. Reassembling the engine with the side rods. The notch for the motor pin on one side was broken, so I took a piece of brass and fabricated it and mounted it to the side of the motor. Putting the top screw in first to snug up the motor to the shell. Knocking the motor pin back in. Putting the spacer on first, followed by the connecting rod. Then finish it with the eccentric crank and locking it down with the side rod screw. Putting the front truck back on. You want to put the drawbar on first with the rear truck. I purchased the rear truck from Jeff Kane at Train Tender. He's got all the pre-war and post-war parts you need at a great price. Testing the engine again to make sure nothing went wrong reassembling it. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks for watching and happy railroading.